Yes, thank you, and thank you for having me. Um, it's been a very difficult, it's been very difficult for many years, but it's been especially difficult in the last, 60 days. Most of my family, all of my family is from Gaza, and they actually had to make the hard journey south, which was very difficult. One of my cousins fainted multiple times along the way, and there was fear of her being, harmed in the march. Down south, when there are multiple people walking, and you're falling on the ground fainting, it's a very difficult situation when you have no food, no water, and no sleep for um, for days and weeks on end. I had a cousin message my mother the other day saying all she had to eat was some tomatoes. And my other cousin had messaged me saying that she's unable to find coats and jackets for her young children. We do talk about food, and food is absolutely important, and there is a huge need for food, but it's also freezing outside. It is December, and it gets very, very cold in Gaza, and there is no housing. All of my family's homes have been destroyed. And some of them are actually living, in shelters or on the streets at the moment. And to have young children with no proper clothing because they had to flee their homes so quickly, it's a very difficult situation. And despite sending money to my cousins, they said that they are not able to buy clothing because there's no supplies. And so this is also another huge reason why we need the Rafah border open, for food, for water, for clothing, for the winter, especially with people out on the street, with no shelter. I have another family member who is required to have dialysis, and with no fuel in hospitals, it's very difficult. In fact, we haven't been able to get a hold of him in many weeks now to see if he is alive. We haven't heard that he had passed or anything, so we're hoping that he's still alive. But it's a very difficult situation when there's no fuel for hospitals. So the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is immense. People are starving. My family is starving. But most importantly, every time they message me, they just say, I want the bombing to stop. I want the bombing to stop. They are exhausted. They wake up in the middle of the night because the bombings are all around them, fear that they're going to be next. They can't sleep. They can't eat. And they're cold and they have no place to go. And so they're just exhausted. I don't know how else to put the situation, but it's just incredibly exhausting. And that's their number one goal, is just let's have a ceasefire. That's what we want. That's what they tell me they want. They message me on a daily basis, except for the last 2 days. I haven't heard from several of my cousins. There's been no reception, so I don't know if they are okay. But most of the time they ask me, what is the government of the United States saying? Is there, did Congress say anything? Did Biden say anything? What's happening with the United States government? And it's difficult because I don't want to lie to them, but I also don't want to give them, uh, at the end of the day, I'm not sure what to say, because I know they want like a glimmer of hope. And I'm just not seeing it at the moment. They all know that United States is the reason why this war is continuing. Not only is it their support, but it's also their bombs. And so, on a daily basis, they ask me, what is the government doing, and is there a conversation for a ceasefire? So it's very difficult, because we here in America, our family here in America, we feel in a lot of ways helpless, and we're just watching our family die on social media, and uh, it's exhausting for us all, and it's painful for us all. So we're asking for a ceasefire, immediate ceasefire, and I think that, obviously a political solution is needed, but at the moment we want the bombing to stop. We want We want clothing, we want food, we want water, we want fuel, so we can live into tomorrow.